Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Nishit Kumar with the evening news. The headlines. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh assures farmers MSP will not only stay but will continuously be increased in coming years. Election Commission is committed to conduct safe and secure elections in Bihar, says CEC Sunil Arora. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to more than 83%. India says hundreds of journalists and human rights defenders are systematically killed in Pakistan each year. And an Ipl Cricket Match between Kings 11 Punjab and Mumbai Indians underway at Abu Dhabi. In our special series on the occasion of the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, we begin this bulletin with Bapu Ki Baat. In a speech on the 23rd of January 1948, Mahatma Gandhi had said that people should adopt what is good and the bad should be left.
सब आदमी को गुणग्राही बनना चाहिए। तुलसीदास ने कहा है कि जड़ चेतन गुण दोषमय विश्व कीन किरदार। तो कहते हैं कि जो सच्चा आदमी है उसके लिए तो यही है कि जैसे हंस को पानी को छोड़ देता है और उसमें जो चीज भरी है दूध में से मलाई देती है उसको दे देता है, इसी तरह से हमारे जो मलाई है मनुष्य के गुण है उसको मलाई की उपमा दी है वो दे देना, बाकी अवगुण है वो छोड़ देना।
And now the news in detail. Union Minister Rajnath Singh today assured the farm community that the minimum support price MSP will not only stay, it will also be continuously increased in coming years. Speaking to reporters in New Delhi, Mr. Singh said, being a farmer's son himself, he wanted to make it clear that the Narendra Modi government will not do anything that is not in the interest of the farmers.
जिस सरकार ने अपने 6 वर्षों के इस कार्यकाल के दौरान एमएसपी लगातार बढ़ाने का काम किया हो और जैसा हम लोगों ने कहा था कि हम जो लागत मूल्य है उसका 1.5 गुना कीमत हम किसानों को मुहैया कराने की कोशिश करेंगे, स्वामीनाथन कमीशन की रिकमेंडेशन भी थी, उस अनुसार बहुत कुछ किया है। आगे भी हम लोगों ने और भी कुछ करने का हमने सोचा है और शायद लोगों को इस बात की जानकारी नहीं है, दलहन और तिलहन में तो हमारी सरकार ने मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस पिछली सरकारों के कंपेरिजन में लगभग 23 गुना से अधिक बढ़ाई है। मैं किसान भाइयों को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि किसी भी सूरत में मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस की व्यवस्था समाप्त नहीं होने जा रही है। मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस लगातार हमारी सरकार बढ़ाती रहेगी ताकि किसानों के सामाजिक आर्थिक विकास का जो हमारा लक्ष्य है इस लक्ष्य को हासिल कर सकें।
He appeals to all farmers' organizations to have a dialogue with the government if they have any issues. Mr. Singh said he has already started talking to farmers' organizations to clear misgivings and misconceptions. The minister also hit out at the Congress Party's youth wing protesters for burning a tractor, saying, as a weapon is sacred to soldiers, so is a tractor for farmers. And by burning a tractor, they insulted the farmers. Union Minister for Railways, Commerce and Industries Piyush Goyal has said that strengthening and empowering farmers is the top priority of the government, and the 3 laws brought by the government for agricultural reforms have freed the farmers from all kinds of shackles. In a joint press conference with Union Minister for Jal Shakti Gajendra Singh Shekhawat and Union Minister of State for Agriculture Kailash Chaudhary in Jaipur today, Mr. Goyal said farmers are the most important link in making the country a Vishwa Guru. If the farmer is strong, then the country will be strong. He said the recent laws have provided new ways for farmers to make them independent and strong. Mr. Goyal said the purpose of these laws is to make farmers self-reliant and to increase their income.
किसानों का भविष्य सुधारने के लिए उनको मुक्ति दिलाई गई बिछौलियों से, अलग अलग प्रकार के बंधनों से। इन कानूनों के तहत ये सुनिश्चित किया कि अब किसान आजाद है कि वो किधर भी किसी को भी सही दाम पे अपना उत्पादन बेच सकता है।
Mr. Goyal said the opposition is trying to mislead the farmers and citizens of the country. He said that almost twice the procurement was done by the NDA government at the MSP as compared to the UPA tenure. Speaking on the occasion, Union Minister of Jal Shakti Gajendra Singh Shekhawat said the government has acted swiftly on the recommendations made by the Swaminathan Committee.
Minister of State in the PMO, Dr. Jitendra Singh, today said that during the last 6 years of Modi government, a number of historic decisions were taken for the welfare of farmers. Speaking at a function on the topic empowerment of farmers in Jammu today, the Union Minister accused the opposition parties of misleading the farmers' community on the issues which are not at all in the farm laws brought by the government. The Minister said that some vested interests are spreading myths about the abolition of minimum support price MSP and mandis which need to be countered at all levels. Dr. Singh said now the farmers can sell their produce anywhere in the country and even to private traders. He said under the farm laws, the contract agreement is for crops and not for the land, adding even the farmers can terminate the contract farming agreement about their crop produced at any time. Later, the minister also interacted with media persons. Union Sports Minister Kiran Rijiju said that Farm Reform Acts would benefit the northeastern states as they ensured legislative support for level playing ground for all farmers across the country. Talking to media in Guwahati along with Assam Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal and Union Minister Rameshwar Teli, Mr. Rijiju pointed out that the northeast region had failed to benefit much from the earlier Green Revolution as much as the northern states have benefited. He hoped that the new acts will ensure that any farmers can reap equal benefits as these reforms have legislative support. The minister termed the three acts as the biggest reform in the agriculture sector post-independence. Assam Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal said the reforms will boost the agricultural sector further and attract youth to the sector. Union Minister of State for Food Processing Rameshwar Teli highlighted the subsidies and incentives provided for trade in Northeast region, adding that the acts will help the farmers of the region further.
Chief Election Commissioner Sunil Arora today said the election panel is committed to safe and secure elections in Bihar amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Arora was briefing media persons in Patna at the end of a 3-day Bihar visit for review of poll preparedness in the state. The CEC said the Commission will ensure conducive atmosphere for polls in the Corona period and Bihar elections will be a step towards leap of faith. Mr. Arora said the number of polling stations have been increased to over 106,000 to manage the crowd. Only 1,000 voters will be allowed at one polling booth.
2015 में जब चुनाव कराया था असेंबली इलेक्शन तो 6.7 करोड़ वोटर्स थे। अब जबकि हम चुनाव की तैयारी में संलग्न हैं तो 7.29 करोड़ वोटर्स हैं। जो पुरुष वोटर हैं वो 2015 में 3.57 करोड़ थे जो कि अब 3.85 करोड़ हो गए। फीमेल इलेक्टर्स 3012 करोड़ थी 2015 में, अब 3.4 करोड़ हो गई। जो सर्विस वोटर्स हैं हमारे वो 92,144 से 1.6 लाख हो गए।
The CEC said nodal medical officers have been appointed at 3 levels to oversee the COVID-19 preventive arrangements. Mr. Arora said those who try to incite communal and caste violence using social media will be dealt with stringent law.
अगर हमारे पास कोई ऐसी प्रूवन रिपोर्ट आती है हमारे सीओ साहब के थ्रू, आपके थ्रू, कोई भी नागरिक के थ्रू कि कोई सोशल मीडिया इस प्रकार की मिसचिफ कर रहा है जिससे कि वो कम्युनल वायलेंस या कास्ट वायलेंस को बढ़ावा मिले तो हम कठोरात्मक जो कार्रवाई है वो करने में बिल्कुल नहीं हिचकेते।
During the 3-day visit, the Election Commission team held meetings with all 38 district magistrates and SPs, nodal officers of enforcement agencies like income tax, excise and tax departments. The team, led by the CEC, also had review meetings with political parties, Chief Secretary, Principal Home Secretary and DGP of the state. Meanwhile, 3 nominations were filed on the first day of nomination for the first phase of state assembly elections. 2 nominations were filed before the returning officer of Aurangabad and 1 from Wazirganj constituency by independent candidates. Notification for the first phase of state assembly elections was issued today. In this phase, polling would be held on the 28th of October in 71 assembly constituencies spread over 16 districts. Last date for nomination is the 8th of this month and scrutiny of nomination papers would take place on the 9th of October. Last date for withdrawal of candidature is the 12th of October.
Government today said that the country's recovery rate among the COVID-19 patients has reached to 83.53%. During the last 24 hours, more than 85,000 COVID patients have recovered. Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has reached over 52,73,000. The constantly increasing recoveries have ensured that the actual case load of the country has reduced and currently comprises only 14.90% of the total positive cases. India's COVID-19 tally has crossed 63 lakh with 86,821 new infections being reported in a day. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 9,40,000. The minister said effective implementation of Centre's strategic and graded test, track, treat approach has led to higher recoveries and lower fatality. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.56%, which is one of the lowest globally. In the last 24 hours, 1,181 deaths have been reported, taking the toll to 98,678. Home Ministry has issued new guidelines for opening up of more activities in areas outside the containment zones. These guidelines, which come into effect from today, further extends the process of reopening of several activities in the country. Starting today, states and union territories have been directed not to impose any local lockdown outside the containment zones without prior consultations with the central government. There will be no restriction on interstate and intrastate movement of goods and persons as well. All activities have been permitted outside containment zones, barring international travel of passengers, except as permitted by the Home Ministry. Home Ministry has informed that strict lockdown will, however, continue in all the containment zones in the country till the 31st of October. The national directives regarding maintaining adequate physical distancing at marketplaces and gatherings will also remain effective. Persons above 65 years of age, people with comorbidities, pregnant women and children below the age of 10 years have been advised to stay at home. Government has also urged to continue encouraging usage of Arogya Setu app.
Following the guidelines for opening up of more activities by the union government, the Puducherry government gave permission to open bars in the union territory from today. In an informal chat with news persons, Chief Minister V. Narayanasamy said it was decided to open schools for class 10th and 12th from October the 5th.
Students could come to the school with the permission of their parents, and the classes will be till 1 p.m. A decision in respect of opening classes for the class 9th and 11th will be taken later, he said. Bars could be opened today and cinema houses could start functioning from October 18th with a 50% seat capacity. Further, swimming pools and parks will also be opened here. All shops will remain open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and the beach would also be opened for the public from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. he said. Chandramohan, Air News, Puducherry.
In Odisha, COVID-19 recovery has further risen to 1,85,700 with a recuperation of 4,219 patients. 3,615 fresh cases were also reported today, taking the total caseload of the state to 2,22,734. With 17 more fatalities, the COVID-19 death toll has further mounted to 859.
Over the past 6 months, Odisha has conducted over 33 lakh sample tests. However, with the recovery progressively cancelling out the COVID-19 positive cases, the state is left with a little over 36,000 active cases as on today. On the other hand, a recent sero survey conducted in the Gajapati district by the Bhubaneswar-based Regional Medical Research Center has revealed an antibody prevalence of about 65%. Meanwhile, as a precautionary measure, the state government has ordered the continued closure of all the Anganwadi centers across the state till the end of this month, while still ensuring the doorstep delivery of ration for the beneficiaries as mandated. Girish Chandra Das, Bhubaneswar.
In Tamil Nadu, the total COVID-19 infection has crossed the 6 lakh mark today. 5,688 people were tested positive, while 5,516 patients recovered. Meanwhile, the Chennai Corporation has halted bookings of marriage halls in the city for possible use during the impending northeast monsoon to accommodate the affected people. More from our correspondent.
It is customary for the city civic body in Chennai to use community halls during floods for accommodating the affected people and to prepare food for them. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, the social distancing norms have come into play now. The new norms have necessitated taking over all the halls in the city for flood relief activities to avoid any possible space crunch. As an exemption, the corporation has said in a release that the booking of the halls will be allowed exceptionally for a limited duration when the weather forecast hints at getting no rain. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh assures farmers MSP will not only stay but will continuously be increased in the coming years. Election Commission is committed to conduct safe and secure elections in Bihar, says CEC Sunil Arora. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to more than 83%. India says hundreds of journalists and human rights defenders are systematically killed in Pakistan each year. And in Ipl Cricket Match between Kings 11 Punjab and Mumbai Indians underway at Abu Dhabi. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
आकाशवाणी का समाचार सेवा प्रभाग प्रस्तुत करता है राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी को समर्पित जीवन गाथा चल पड़े जिधर दो डग। 2 अक्टूबर रात 9:15 पर आकाशवाणी के विशेष कार्यक्रम स्पॉटलाइट में 100.1 FM गोल्ड चैनल पर।
President Ramnath Kovind has appealed to people to resolve to rededicate themselves to the welfare and progress of the nation, follow the mantra of truth and non-violence, build a clean, capable, strong and prosperous India, and make Mahatma Gandhiji's dreams come true. On the eve of Gandhi Jayanti, the President in his message has said that on 2nd October every year Mahatma Gandhiji is remembered not only in India but all over the world and remains a source of inspiration for all humanity. His life story empowers and strengthens the weaker sections of society. Mr. Kovind said his message of truth, non-violence and love paves the way for the welfare of the world by bringing about harmony and equality in society. He said his values were as relevant yesterday as they are today and will remain so in future. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged people to participate in the My NEP competition to become a part of the educational transformation of India. In a tweet today, Mr. Modi said this competition is an interesting way of sharing unique aspects about the National Education Policy 2020.
India has lambasted Pakistan for fomenting a fake narrative against India at the World Forum. At the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva, India exercised the right of reply to the statement made by Pakistan yesterday. India's first secretary at the UN Permanent Mission in Geneva, Pawan Badhe, said that resorting to abusive and unacceptable language against India cannot rectify Pakistan's dubious human rights record. He said that no fabricated words against India is going to change the fact that Pakistan and territories under its control are death traps for journalists, human rights defenders, social activists and religious and ethnic minorities. In his statement, he added that perennial India-bashing project of Pakistan in the UN system is also not going to change the fact that hundreds of journalists and human rights defenders die each year in Pakistan due to systematic killings and including extrajudicial ones. Taking a dig at Pakistan's historically poor record on human rights and democratic values, India said that while the world has progressed well, Pakistan is still at the crossroads to understand the real meaning of modern laws, democracy and human rights. External Affairs Ministry has said that NGOs functioning in the country are expected to adhere to all the laws, including in respect of foreign funding. In a virtual briefing today, MEA spokesperson Anurag Srivastava, while replying to a question over Amnesty International, said that NGOs are expected to follow the law of the land in the same manner as they would presumably do in other countries, including in the US and the European Union.
NGOs are expected to adhere to all our laws, including in respect of foreign funding, just as they presumably would in other countries, including in the US and in the European Union. We also expect that other governments would not condone contravention of Indian laws by any entity.
In Jammu and Kashmir, 2 soldiers were martyred and 4 injured in an unprovoked ceasefire violation by Pakistani troops along the line of control LOC in Nogam sector of the North Kashmir's Kupwara district today. Srinagar-based defence spokesperson Colonel Rajesh Kalia said Pakistan initiated an unprovoked ceasefire violation along the LOC in Nogam sector this morning by firing mortars and other weapons. He said 2 soldiers attained martyrdom and 4 sustained injuries in the firing from across the border. The injured personnel were evacuated from the spot while a befitting response was given to the Pakistani firing. The central government has decided that there will be one-day state mourning on the 4th of October throughout the country as a mark of respect to the departed dignitary Amir of the state of Kuwait. Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad Al-Jabr Al-Sabah passed away on Tuesday. The national flag will be flown at half-mast on all buildings throughout India where it is flown regularly, and there will be no official entertainment on the day.
The National Commission for Women today wrote to Director General of Police in Uttar Pradesh seeking an explanation on the urgency to cremate the body of Hathras gang rape victim in the middle of the night in the absence of her family. It has asked the administration to send a reply on the same at the earliest. The Commission said it is shocked at the brutal gang rape of a 20-year-old woman who died in Delhi after fighting for life for 2 weeks. It added that the incident underlines the grim state of women in the society. The NCW said it has come across as a disturbing report on police officials cremating her body in the middle of the night without the permission and presence of her family members. Uttar Pradesh police today claimed that there is neither any proof of gang rape of the deceased girl of Hathras nor her tongue was chopped off. Addressing media today on this issue, ADG Law and Order of the state Prashant Kumar said that as per the post-mortem report of the victim which was done in Safdarjung Hospital of Delhi, there are no signs of rape on the body, and also the FSL report denies any trace of sperm. He said that some people try to flare up tension in the state on caste lines and spread rumours. He further added that police will investigate about those persons and forces who are trying to malign the image of the state police.
Integrated Defence Staff celebrated its 20th Raising Day today. On this occasion, the Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, extended his warm felicitations to all members of the Tri-Services fraternity and their families. Headquarters Integrated Defence Staff, popularly known as HQ-IDS, was raised on the 1st of October 2001. Tasked to promote jointness among the armed forces and ensure better coordination with Ministry of Defence and other departments and ministries, HQ-IDS has over the last 19 years synergized efforts of the armed forces in promoting national endeavours in key fields such as security, modernization, jointness and military diplomacy, to name a few. The creation of the Department of Military Affairs and institution of the Chief of Defence Staff in the past year are major milestones that have provided the much-needed impetus to the transformation of the armed forces and their integration in the higher defence organisation of the nation. HQ-IDS remains at the forefront of multiple initiatives aimed at furthering the integration and jointness among the services and thus living up to its motto, victory through jointness. Minister of Tribal Affairs Arjun Munda will virtually launch India's largest handicraft and organic products marketplace, Tribes India e-Marketplace, on the occasion of Gandhi Jayanti tomorrow. Keeping in line with the vision of the Prime Minister of making India Atmanirbhar and self-reliant, this path-breaking initiative of TriFed will showcase the produce and handicrafts of tribal enterprises from across the country. It will help them market their products directly. On this occasion, Mr. Arjun Munda will also flag off several other TriFed initiatives that are aimed to support tribal brethren. These include the inauguration of Tribes India's 123rd and 124th outlets in Rishikesh and Kolkata, inclusion of new tribal product ranges from the states of Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh, and partnership of TriFed and Tribes India with Amazon in their Seller Flex program. Mr. Munda will also launch Pakur Honey, which is 100% natural honey gathered by Santhal tribals from Pakur, Jharkhand.
Ministry of Finance said that the gross goods and services tax GST revenue collection in the month of September stood at 95,480 crore rupees. The revenue collection in September is the highest so far during this fiscal. Out of the total GST collection, central GST is 17,741 crore rupees, State GST is 23,131 crore rupees. Integrated GST is 47,484 crore rupees. And cess is 7,124 crore rupees. The ministry in a statement said the total revenue earned by the central government and the state governments after regular settlement in the month of September is over 39,000 crore rupees for CGST and 40,128 crore rupees for the SGST. It said the revenues for the month are 4% higher than the GST revenues in the same month of last year. Indian Railways has reported more revenue earnings in the last month as compared to the same time frame of last year. This turnaround has been reported in spite of the COVID-related challenges. Railways earned over 9,896 crore rupees from freight loading, which is also nearly 13.5% higher compared to the last year's earnings for the same period. Indian Railways has also rolled out a number of concessions and discounts to make freight movement very attractive. In a statement, it said that COVID-19 has been used by the railways as an opportunity to improve all-round efficiencies and performances.
In IPL cricket, Mumbai Indians were 123 for 3 in 16 overs against Kings 11 Punjab at Abu Dhabi when reports last came in. Earlier, Kings 11 Punjab won the toss and elected to field. Last night, Kolkata Knight Riders beat Rajasthan Royals by 37 runs in Dubai. In tomorrow's fixture, Chennai Super Kings will take on Sunrisers Hyderabad at Dubai. In tennis, Novak Djokovic continued his dominant start to the French Open with a ruthless straight-set win against Lithuanian world number 66 Ricardas Berankis in the second round. The world number 1 won 6-1, 6-2, 6-2. Djokovic will face either Colombian qualifier Daniel Elahi Galan or American world number 47 Tennis Sandgren next.
Hong Kong police today arrested 69 people for trying to gather and protest against the national security law imposed in the semi-autonomous territory in Beijing on June 30th this year. Hong Kong police in a tweet said that they were arrested for an illegal gathering for which permission was not granted. Protesters chanted pro-democracy slogans even as Chief Executive Carrie Lam participated in the National Day ceremony amid tight security. Police had banned the protest, citing restrictions owing to pandemic on group gatherings and violence at previous marches. Now, let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature will be 20 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be 35 degrees. The city will have mainly clear sky. Srinagar and Ladakh will also have mainly clear sky, while the temperature in Srinagar will hover between 7 and 28 degrees Celsius. In Ladakh, the minimum temperature will be 1 degree Celsius and the maximum will be 21 degrees. Gilgit will experience partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. The temperature will hover between 9 and 25 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, there will be mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 15 and the maximum will be 32 degrees Celsius. In the national capital Delhi, it will be having mainly clear sky. It will have a minimum temperature of 22 degrees Celsius and the maximum of 37 degrees. In Mumbai, there will be partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be 27 degrees Celsius and the maximum 30 degrees. Chennai will experience generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will hover between 25 and 34 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will witness generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature in the metropolis will be 27 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 32 degrees. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 19 and 33 degrees Celsius. The city will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh assures farmers MSP will not only stay but will continuously be increased in coming years. Election Commission is committed to conduct safe and secure elections in Bihar, says CEC Sunil Arora. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to more than 83%. India says hundreds of journalists and human rights defenders are systematically killed in Pakistan each year. And in IPL cricket match between Kings 11 Punjab and Mumbai Indians underway at Abu Dhabi. And now we bring to you Bapu's favorite bhajan, Vaishnava Janato, sung by an artist from Iran.
वैष्णव जन तो तेरे
With that, we end the evening news. Good night.